it's Victoria here, and today I have my review of the Kylie Cosmetics Kai Shadow Palette, the Burgundy palette. Now I know she just launched the Peach palette, and that's kind of what prompted me to do this video because there's so much hype with her products, and I kind of just want to give a review and my thoughts on the palette, just in case you feel the need, like, I gotta go buy it. So I just want to give my thoughts and opinions on it. So yes, this is the Burgundy palette by Kylie Cosmetics, and I've had this for a couple weeks, maybe longer. I think I might have, I don't even know, I think I might have ordered it like Black Friday-ish. So it's been over a month and a half that I have it. And I think these are beautiful colors, absolutely beautiful colors. And I really think the pigment of the eyeshadows is really nice. I'll give you some swatches. They're very, the shadows are very smooth and buttery feeling. That's the first three, the top row there. I hope you can see it in my camera's not like washing them out. I feel like it is. They are very, like I said, they're very creamy and buttery and pigmented, and I don't have a problem with the actual formula or the performance of the products. I didn't wipe my hands off, so these swatches are going to be kind of crazy. Those are the next three. And worst swatcher ever, but I'm sure you've seen this swatched all over the internet. So like I said, just for purposes of my video, and then that's the last three in the palette. So those are those three there. Now again, like I said, these shadows are really nice and buttery, and they perform well, and they are pigmented, and they perform very well on the eyes. I've worn this several times and I've had no problems with the eyeshadows. I think that we all have to come to some type of talk with ourselves and really decide, do I need this palette? I do not need this palette. In 2017, I kind of feel like I'm not going to be hoarding stuff. I will be buying makeup, don't get me wrong. I will be buying makeup, but I don't feel the need that I need to hoard stuff that I don't need. And this is one thing that I feel like I don't need. When the Peach palette was first launched, trust and believe, I was like, I'm going to get it. I need that. I want that. I need it. I need it. But then when I started to think about it, I was like, do I really need it? I mean, and again, if you love Kylie Jenner, if you love her look, her brand, what she's about, and you want to buy the palette just because you like Kylie Jenner, go for it. I completely understand that, and I'm not saying don't buy this. I mean, if you absolutely love her. But if you see the palette and you're like, oh, I want it because the colors and all this stuff, I would reconsider it. And I would not buy it. Like this palette, I'm going to be passing it along to somebody. I don't know who yet, because I don't need it in my collection, and I'm trying not to hoard things like this. I have similar palettes, and one of them is this Juvia's Place palette. Now, these shadows are as equally nice, pigmented, and perform as well as on the eyes. These kind of lack some of the burgundy tones in this palette and the Kylie palette. But if you put them next to each other, they're very similar as far as, you know, the looks on the eyes that you can get. And because I have that palette and I use that palette often, it's like, do I need it? And then I also have this ABH Modern Renaissance palette that does have a couple burgundies in it. Oops, there goes my brush. And these eyeshadows, these ABH eyeshadows are the best eyeshadows ever. They kick these shadows in the butt. So, I mean, and like I said, because I have this palette, I have this palette, and I have a couple other palettes that have the similar tones, I feel like I don't need this palette. And like I said, when I saw the Peach palette, I really was like, I need that palette, I need that palette. But then I was like thinking about it, and I went through my eyeshadow palette collection, which I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, and I love each and every one of them. But I realized I haven't used this palette, and this is the Morphe 350 palette. Now, looking at it, we have some very similar peaches to the Kylie palette. Now, like I said, I don't own the Kylie palette, so I can't say that these are exact dupes, but I do feel like I can achieve the similar looks with this palette that I can with the Kylie palette. Now, it doesn't have that blue, it doesn't have the green, but let's be honest, I know I'm not going to use that blue in that palette or the green. I was getting it for the peachiness of the shades. But again, I have the Morphe 350 palette. I also have the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. So if I really want a peach look, I have the means to do it. So do I really need that palette? No. Do I think, like I said, if you don't have any of these palettes, and you want to get that palette, go for it. But I think we are all so into the hype of, oh my god, Kylie Jenner is coming out with this new palette, that we don't really take the time to stop and think to ourselves, do I really, really need this palette? No, nobody needs an eyeshadow palette, I get it. But it's like, do I really, really want this palette? Should it be a part of my collection? Should I add it? And like I said, if you love Kylie Jenner, if you're just a makeup lover all day, every day, and you don't really care how big your collection gets, then by all means, go buy it. But again, for those of us who are kind of being a little bit more conscious with what we're spending our money on, I have to be the one to say, you don't need to buy the Kylie palettes. Like I said, they are very good quality, and they're nice, but they are not knock your socks off out of this world that you absolutely need them. And like I said, there's just so much hype that I don't feel like anybody's coming on here and saying like, hey, yeah, this is nice and all, but you don't really need to run out and buy it. And that's how I feel about these shadows. And again, I made the decision. I love eyeshadow palettes, and it's really hard, but I feel like, do I really need this palette in my collection? I don't. So like I said, I'm going to be probably passing this on to somebody, I don't know who, just because, again, I have other palettes, and I'm getting to the point where I keep accumulating palettes, so that some palettes I haven't even used. So I kind of feel like it's a little bit too much. And mind you, I'm not saying I'm not going to buy more eyeshadow palettes. Again, I have this Modern Renaissance palette. I have this Juvia's Place palette. I have the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette, which has a lot of similar colors as this. So I can't say like, oh, I'm not going to buy a palette that's similar ever again. I'm just saying like, for right now, in this specific palette, these arrangement of colors, I'm not going to buy. So again, this is a great palette. It has nice colors, and I feel like if you don't have any of these other palettes, yeah, this is a good one to invest your money in, because I do think it's a good value. However, if you do have other palettes, if you do even have single shadows that resemble this, I think you should pass on it. And like I said, the peach, same thing with her royal, what is it called? The Royal Peach palette. Again, I was one of those people that was like, oh, I can't wait, it's coming out, I'm gonna get it. And then, like I said, I really looked at it, like really took my time, looked at it, went through my collection, was like, do I really need this palette? Is it worth the hype? No, I don't think so. Because it's, and again, look at the palette and look at the colors. Is it really like this revolutionary arrangement of colors? It's not. It really isn't. It's like I said, there's palettes that contain the same colors. Maybe not every single one of those shades. But again, you have to, I mean, again, so everybody's different. So if you're going to use that blue, because it's a beautiful blue color, or that green, which is a very beautiful color as well, then maybe that is the palette for you. But I know myself, I'm not going to use that blue for anything. I tell myself, yeah, I'm going to use that. Look at the look on the palette. It looks really good. I'm going to try that. But I know realistically, I might try that once, but never again. So again, I just feel like like I said, in 2017, I'm really trying not to hoard products and keep things that I know I'm not going to use. And I just feel like I'm going to pass on that particular palette for the time being. Like I said, it's so hyped up, and I don't feel anybody's really talking about, I feel like everybody's like, you need to have it, you need to get it, you need to get it. And it's like, do I really need to get it? You know, and that's an opinion thing, as always, with all makeup. But again, like I said, I got this ABH palette, I got this Juvia's Place palette, and then I have this honking Morphe 350 palette, which I haven't used in forever, which I can bust out and get those peachy shades. And like I said, I do have also the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette and the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette, which all have very warmed shades in it as well. And I can achieve those same looks from that Kylie palette as I could from this. And again, same thing with this. I have a couple palettes that have some, again, I think, yeah, because I feel like the ABH Modern Renaissance has a color that's just a tad bit brighter than this. But all these colors in this palette I have in some other palettes in some way, shape, or form. So these are not, like I said, it's just not a must-have for me. Again, I understand that some people love Kylie Jenner and they want everything Kylie, and if that's you, good for you, because I have that way with some people that, you know, celebrities that I love, and I'll buy their products too. I just think for like the rest of us that are just kind of like seeing these videos and like, oh, these new products come out and everybody's like, you need to have it, you need to have it. It's like, stop. Do you really need to have it? Probably not. So again, this is just my opinion, and like I said, it's because it's a new year and my new kind of process is like trying to be like conscious of what I'm buying and what I'm purchasing, and you know, thinking I don't need every single new product that comes out. I know it's rough, but again, there's so many things that I feel like are hyped up on YouTube, and it's like doesn't necessarily deserve the hype. So yeah, that's just my opinion on the Kylie Eyeshadow palette. This is the burgundy one. I also talked about the royal one that just came out that I'm not going to be purchasing, because again, these are normal shadows, you know, they're not the best shadows. If you're going to spend the money, try something like this, because I do think this is just, it was my favorite of 2016, even though it came out later in the year. These shadows are amazing. You can get them in individual pan size if you don't want this whole palette. And again, maybe that's something we should start looking into more. I know it kind of is convenient to have like a pre-made palette, but there are also individual shadows that you can buy from certain brands. ColourPop just came out with some. I know Juvia's Place has them. Color Rain has them. Makeup Geek has them. MAC has individual shadows that you can customize your own palette to, and that's probably even more of a better value, because all those colors are colors you know you're going to use. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I know this is kind of a long video, and like I said, I would pass on these Kylie shadows. And that's just my opinion. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.